Okay, so Argentina, huge country, relatively small population compared to what we used to in the UK. Like 35 million compared to what 60 odd million people where we are, and we're talking about a country that just dwarfs ours. So a huge country, like so many of the exotic places that we jet off to. A huge country with lots and lots of space, a very diverse species of animal and bird life, and a hunter's paradise, I have to say. A few words of advice before you come over here, though. The country itself, it's a huge country, famed for its cattle farms and so on. One of the things that perhaps I should tell you about more than anything else, when you come over here whether you're wing shooting, okay, if you're wing shooting it's going to be a slightly different scenario because you're going to be wearing rubber boots and generally shooting over wetlands. That said, if you're here shooting trophies and stalking and that sort of thing, the vegetation, I'm just going to wander off into a little bit of it now, the vegetation can be quite dense. It's almost like Namibia in terms of thorn incursions. I'll show you this just very quickly. It is a spiky, bastard, horrible, spiteful, nasty plant. I mean, it just is. You can see it's just very, very similar to the thorn bushes that we have in Namibia and South Africa. So I guess what I'm saying to you is this: this isn't an area where you're going to be wearing shorts. It really isn't. The other thing is that there's a lot of grasses, and obviously grass comes with grass seed. On top of the grasses, there's burrs in the ground as well. Not in the ground, but there's burrs which, if you imagine something the size of a pea, covered in spine, little tiny sharp spines which get stuck in your socks and your feet, it'll give you a flavour for it. The conditions, temperature-wise and so on, are excellent for wandering around, but I have to say these little tiny burrs make life a pain in the backside. So much so that I'm going to show you these. This is I'm going to show you my legs now, so apologies for that. But where are we? On the bottom of my feet, you will see as I pull my trouser legs, oh, a horrible pale white leg. I'm wearing gaiters. There's a reason for it. It just stops. It stops the sand and the seeds and the burrs getting into your socks and into your boots, which really do make life, I'm not going to say unbearable, but certainly they make life uncomfortable. And let's be honest, who needs to be uncomfortable? So just to pan around and give you a flavour for the environment that I'm in at the moment. It's a good area for stalking in. I mean, this is relatively thin in terms of the density of the bush. If you get kind of 10-15 metres in to some of the thicker stuff, well, that's where the water buffalo are found here, and really you are after a hard stalk in very hard country. So long trousers, because your legs are not going to thank you for wearing shorts here. You do need gaiters and you need some decent boots. Although sand boots is fine, you know, it's not as if you're going to get wet here. So in terms of equipment and in terms of culture and environment, that's what you're walking into. Press the wrong button. Zoom out. There you go. That's better. That's what you're getting involved with. Hopefully, by the time I get back to Blighty, I'll splice in some pictures of stalking, hunting, and that sort of thing while I'm here. So it'll give you a flavour for the environment and the species that we're going to find. Black buck, good fallow deer, axis deer as a matter of course as well. Beautiful, beautiful thing. On top of that, some of the biggest red stags I've ever seen. I know it's been my bogey species, but that doesn't mean I've not seen plenty. So in the big scheme of things, there's some very, very good red stags here. Multi-horn sheep, Dahl sheep. There's I think it was some sort of Cameroon goat we saw earlier on, a white thing with a black head with spiral horns. On top of that, obviously, there's an awful lot of bird life here. They've got doves and pigeons, which seem to complement each other in terms of the sport. On top of that, there's paddies, or partridges as we call them. A couple of different versions of that too, as well as ducks and so on as well. So calibers to shoot over here. Well, I've bought a 30-06. I'm not going to start making an advert for 30-06. It does everything well, very much like my 9.3x62 over in Namibia. Now the 9.3x62 is just the next up 30-06. So that kind of caliber would be what I would aspire for you to bring. Okay, you guys who like 270 and so on, that'll do the job as well. Although we find that people who come here who just bring in a one-gun battery, you know, something like a 375 would be fabulous. It would do the job on the smaller plains or the smaller game here as well as the buffalo as well. Now buffalo, very, very tenacious here to say the least, tough and aggressive. It's not kaffa like we have in southern Africa. In fact, it's actually a bigger species, probably stronger. different boss and different horn shape, obviously, but it still has that same kind of belligerence that we all come to know and love. And there's plenty of them. But this is where they live. They live amongst this. So really, when you're coming to stalk for buffalo, this is the kind of environment that you're going to be stuck at stalking the things through. Now, I guess it's very similar to. I nearly said the mountain buffalo, but I know people refer to Cape buffalo in Tanzania as mountain buffalo. But in that environment, when you're up in the mountains in the forested areas, very dense bush, and you could be 10, 15 feet from a buffalo and not even know it's there until he decides to come and introduce himself. Same here. We had a guy here earlier in the week who. I think he put his first shot into the buffalo at about 15 feet, because that's when they stumbled across it, and it took 6 further shots of 375 H&H, so 7 in total to put the thing on the ground. Our intrepid hunter then wanted to go over and meet his buffalo, at which point the thing decided to try and get back up again. So it's the same old familiar tough buffalo experience that you're going to come to know and love, albeit with a slightly different attitude and trophy. So it gives you a flavour. I'm going to stop talking now because I'm stalking really. So about time I shut up and got on with it. And I'll splice this together with a few clips of some of the deer species and sheep species that I've seen as well. Argentina, though, first impressions. It's a beautiful, warm, friendly country. The people seem genuinely enthusiastic and keen to help. I've received a really very warm welcome here and been treated spectacularly well. The food has been exceptional, very, very good wines, great stalking, excellent quality of wildlife and species, and some of the biggest trophies I've seen anywhere. I suppose, there's a fella at the moment who's recovering from a heart attack, Craig Boddington, and there's people who talk about stepping in the footsteps of the likes of Rios and Powell Cotton and so on. Boddington's been here and hunted here when he came to Argentina, and he fell in love with the place. So I suppose from my point of view, this is me signing off, saying here I am, an Englishman following in the footsteps of Craig Boddington. So by now you're going to figure out that it's April 2011, and if you're watching this, Mr. B, get well soon. Speak to you soon.